this beautiful detail. Stroopwafel, yeah. That's huge.
That's what she said.
So, here's a left-handed Panerai automatic. That's interesting. And of course the titanium. There's a huge rotor. I use a bit of pegwood so I don't make any scratches. And here the 28 joules, the P9000 movement. I like to see a bit more myself. Now this is nice, elegant. Let's watch it under the microscope, see what we can. Here you can see the screws that were not the first working on this watch. Well, looking not too bad. But first I will remove the crown guard. I love the decoration on the dial. Well, the bezel should be able to move, but it's really we have to really work on that, because that's not and there's a problem with the I know what the problem is now. That's interesting. No wonder there's a problem with the winding stem. So probably not too much wrong with the movement itself, but just the crown. There we are. But with a carbon tipped tweezer, not to make any scratches. I really like the two blued screws here. And here you can see we're not the first working on this particular movement, but please remember we are looking through the microscope. We're looking at in an insane detail in a watch. Now, there we are. Look at this beautiful detail. I love to do a reproduction of this this dial on the straight engine. Guilloche, that would be nice. Stroopwafel, yeah. We cannot reach the barrel or the click. So I'm going to remove the pallet fork and gently release the power from the escape wheel. And then we know for sure that just remove the pallet fork very gently, because the winding stem, the crown came off, so we couldn't release the power via that way. So the alternative way is to very gently remove the pallet fork, make sure the escape wheel is locked, and then when the pallet fork is out, gently release the escape wheel. And now we can see just by looking at this that it's in need of some cleaning and lubrication, because the power isn't released very gently in a way. You see how it's holding back? So I think it's a very good idea to give this a full revision. There we go again. I just tapped it. There we go. And gently pry up the disc that holds down the date. Well, this is annoying. Schals, I think it's in Danish, but look at this. For me, design in watchmaking is functional. Okay, it has to look nice, but still functional. And if you have a look at this date disc, this metal plate is pushing down this date disc with 4 screws, no problem whatsoever. And there's the hole for the sub-second pinion. Now, as a watchmaker who doesn't want to leave traces behind, I would like to just pry up the disc, wiggle wiggle, take it out, and then gently take out the date disc. But there is never some no indentation where I can gently pry up this disc. You see, it's fully round here, and maybe just in here, just gently pry it up. But I have to Rodico, sure, but for a movement design, it must be designed for service. And just a small indentation would be nice. Of course we can use Rodico, but without leaving marks. And I have to be very gentle with the second hand pinion on the other side. There we are. Now that is a beautiful pinion. This doesn't look too sturdy to me. Not really bulletproof. I don't see this design too much. Ah, that's nice. Well, it is elegant. And here it's like a Maltese cross on the other side. There we go. Still looks to me that a bit like this really breaks easily. Well, it has got a double function, because on the other side here, the steel bit is a Maltese cross. And with a design like this, you don't need well, famous drawing coming up. You don't need a spring for centering. With a date disc, 31 teeth. Usually there's a yoke like that with a spring pushing at it, but with the Maltese cross you don't need that spring. With the Maltese cross it stays in one place, so you don't need a spring like that. So that is quite clever. Here you can see why the Maltese cross works that well. If I put it in reversed, upside down, like this, you can see that this finger here, make sure that this one is changing position, and because of these indentations it can turn, and then once it moved from position, this curve is exactly the same as this curve, so it cannot move. It just can move when the finger here gently comes by, and then it can change position because of this indentation here. and then it stays stable because of this curve and that curve, so it cannot move. So you don't need a spring, you don't need a yoke. Quite clever and very old technique, this Maltese cross. It's in many pocket watches to make sure the pre-tension on the mainspring. That's a huge lever. It's just bulky and not elegant. It's just, talking about this one, it's huge. That's huge. Nice. And this is I think this is the root cause of the problem with the winding stem and the crown, because this is very heavy operation. Interesting design. It is functional, but it's not elegant. And again, looks very much like an old pocket watch. So that changes the bascule position. And here is the very strange spring, and it pushes back in place. It's quite a unique design for a modern watch. Quite enjoying this. Are you? I'm a bit suspicious of this screw, because usually a screw head reflects the light at the same moment, because it's completely level. But now the screw head looks a bit like this, because if you look very carefully, the screw doesn't reflect the light at the same moment. It might be over tightened or even a bit like this, so I'm a bit suspicious of that screw, but we'll have a look. Well, it's an adventure, isn't it? Let's have a look at the screw head. Maybe it's just production, could be. As you can see, the setting lever spring had a double function again. It looks like a very simple setting lever spring, but it's pushing down as well as sideways, and that's why this long neck for the setting lever spring. So it's pushing sideways that way, but it's pushing down as well. That's a nice feature. I'll see if we can release this spring, because this yoke is still under tension, because the spring here is pushing, and here it's in between the sliding pinion, so I think I'm going to be better safe than sorry and use this tool to hold down the yoke so it doesn't jump up. And now the tension is released, and now we can take it out. There we are. There's a huge amount of oil here, and we have to be very careful with this huge second pinion. For all those years, this level of detail in watchmaking was only for watchmakers. This is what we saw through the eye loop, through the microscope, and now finally we can share the beauty of watchmaking via this media, via streaming, and I really do love that. And well, for you guys. So yeah, really enjoy doing this. Again, thank you so much, and hopefully see you next time on this stream while working on this very interesting Panerai in-house movement and automatic.